Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Healthy, Wealthy, and Smart podcast. I am your host, Dr. Karen Litzy, owner of Karen Litzy Physical Therapy in the heart of New York City. And today I am so excited to be talking about some topics that were really difficult for me up until recently. And we'll probably get into that a little bit, but we're going to be talking about setting your boundaries. We're going to talk about money, raising your prices, what to do, how to turn people away. And to help us through all of that, we have Hilary Silver. She is an entrepreneur and thought leader in the realm of personal development and relationships, holding an MSW and an LCSW, credentials that underscore her profound understanding and expertise in social work and clinical practices. So, Hilary, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I am so excited. Before we get started, would you mind telling the listeners a little bit more about kind of your journey? Because I think a lot of people on this podcast are familiar with the MSW, but if you could talk a little bit more about where you came from and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so I was kind of an older grad student. I went back to grad school when I was 27, and I knew I wanted to go straight into clinical private practice. And I chose social work instead of other counseling degrees because I really just was interested in the social justice element. I loved the idea of power and all of that. So I got my degree and went straight into private practice. And that was around 2003. I'm sorry. My daughter just walked in the door
Oh,
and my
that's
dog is
okay.
barking. So,
I can't hear a thing.
okay, good.
You could just start
Um,
over.
I'm so sorry. Like summertime, I can't control.
It's okay.
I just can't. Okay.
It's okay.
So, should I just take it up from there?
Yeah, just take it, just start back from
Yeah.
the beginning.
Okay. All right. So when I went to grad school, I was about 27. I was older than everybody else. It took some time to figure out what I wanted to do, who I am, what I want to be when I grow up. And I chose social work as my degree because I was really interested in power dynamics and social justice, but knowing full well that they had a clinical element to it. And I was going to go straight into private practice, which I did. So I graduated in 2003 and went straight into private practice. And I did that for about 13 years. And I literally worked with all kinds of issues with men, women, and couples on infidelity and divorce and career issues and anxiety and addictions, like everything. It was a really amazing training ground. And then in 2017, I closed my practice with a 2-month wait list. I was very successful in my business and walked away from all of it because I wanted more. I wanted to make more of an impact. I had slowly I was making content. I was creating curriculum without realizing that I was doing it because I was saying the same thing over and over again, one person at a time. You know how that can be.
Totally.
And so I started putting it all together and I launched Ready for Love. And Ready for Love is a global digital women's empowerment program. And it's really helping high achieving women who are really successful in their careers, but kind of have a shit show of a love life.
Mhm.
So, it's really about self-love and empowerment and knowing your worth. And then we show them how to do relationships like they've never understood before. And I've been really kind of CEO and running that company since 2017, and it's been a multi 8-figure company. So, and now I am kind of launching my personal brand and I have a podcast of my own. So I don't know. I just love talking about the journey because I just think we all can build on what we've done and continue up leveling and next leveling and just keep finding our next iteration.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's amazing. And I love that you were like, I'm going to walk away from a very successful business, which was really hard to do, and step into something that work. We don't know. You don't know, right? It's a real leap of faith. And to be in like multiple 8 figures, that's just like amazing. I mean,
Thank you.
what an amazing achievement. And along the way, as I said in the intro, we are going to talk about boundaries. I have to assume you had to draw some pretty distinct boundaries and had to make those like set in stone. So I know for myself, I have like a really hard time with that because I'm a people pleaser. and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I don't want people to think poorly of me, and that I want to be liked. I don't want people to think, oh, why are you being so inflexible? Or
Yeah.
like we said, a colleague of mine this morning, one of her uh colleagues said, why, boy, you're being really bitchy lately. And she was like, well, I don't think I'm being bitchy. I think I'm just drawing my boundaries for once. So can you talk a little bit more about boundary settings and how can we do it, especially for the women out there listening?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to it. And I actually teach a three-part process. And the first part is to really get clear what the boundaries are. You have to define them and identify them. Because if you don't know what your boundaries are, how is anyone else going to know what they are? And so it really starts with getting clear for yourself. And part of that process is just becoming a master observer of yourself, noticing when something doesn't feel good, when it doesn't feel right, when you're starting to feel resentful. Resentful is a pretty good indicator that you're doing something you don't want to do, or you're not doing something that you do want to do, or you're biting your tongue and you're not being fully expressed. So it starts with noticing what is okay and not okay for you. And I teach that it's kind of like having lines on a tennis court.
Mm-hmm.
The white lines tell the players what is inbounds and out of bounds, and it tells the audience, the spectators, what's inbound and out of bounds. Because if there's no clear line, it's chaos. And you don't know what the rules of engagement are. So for you and me and everybody, if we aren't drawing the lines where they need to be for each of us, and it's different for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to get run over all the time. People won't know, well, that's not okay for, Dr. Karen, but it is okay for my friend. So, what are the lines? What are the rules? So it starts with getting clear what they are in the first place. Then the second is kind of obvious, but expressing them. You have to be able to express them because people can't read your mind. And what's, again, like what I just said, is what's okay for one may not be okay for another.
Mm-hmm.
Is being 5 minutes late okay for you? Because being 5 minutes late might not be okay for someone else. So, it's really important that we express them. And how we do that is there's an art form to that, which
I
we
was
can
just
get
going to
into in a
ask, I'm
minute.
like, how do you do that?
Well, let's come back to that because I want
Okay.
us to, then the third part is holding them, which is also really difficult because once you speak them, if you're with somebody who doesn't want to hear it, they're going to push and push, or they don't like it doesn't register for them. Not everybody's a bad guy being a villain, and like I call them space invaders. Not everybody's like being an asshole on purpose. They
Mm-hmm.
just don't get it, or whatever, they forget. So if you cave with just a little bit of pushing, your word means nothing. And so you're teaching them that you really don't have boundaries and you're betraying yourself in the process. So if you're going
Mm-hmm.
to speak them, you have to be prepared to hold them. And again, those kind of step 2 and 3 go together, which is why I wanted to wait and go back, because if you're somebody like your colleague who hasn't had very firm or strong boundaries or clear boundaries, and now all of a sudden she does, how she starts to express them will make or break the relationship. It will,
Right.
because you can't go from 0 to rigid overnight or you'll ruin relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah, it's being gentle. I mean, boundaries are not meant to be rigid. They're meant to be firm and flexible at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously knowing what your boundaries are, so recognizing when you're not feeling good or you're feeling burnt out or you're feeling like that anxiety, resentment, I think that's huge because I think we all kind of feel that in our professional life and personal life for that matter, at some point or another. So recognizing that and knowing like I can't do this.
Yeah.
And
I mean, an example would be if you have too many patients and they talk you into taking them and you do, and now you're overwhelmed and you're
Mhm.
frustrated or angry at them. You're resentful towards them, but whose fault is that? because
Right.
you didn't say no. It's actually your responsibility.
Right.
Or if, like I remember at the very beginning of my clinical practice, I would maybe slide my scale a little bit and I would, take a little less from some people, but then they would show up in their luxury vehicle, or they would go on vacation for a couple of weeks and like, wait a minute, why am I so
Mm-hmm.
what am I doing here? No, I'm not going to do that. And so recognizing how I was feeling taken advantage of made me realize that's not something I'm willing to do anymore.
Right.
So paying attention to how you're feeling is going to be a really good indicator about where the lines are going to be for you.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And so hopefully everyone listening is kind of taking this in and just make sure you're being more aware as to how you're feeling. So maybe it's taking a step back and being aware, and maybe you have to write it down so that you don't forget that feeling the next week. Cause I mean, I totally relate to the taking on too many patients and feeling overwhelmed. Then you're like, I don't even want to go to work. Like, I don't even want to do
Yeah.
this. Like, I can't even, like, I remember one time I came home from work, I was too tired to put something in the microwave. So I
You
just
couldn't even
ordered
feed
in.
yourself.
I was like, I can't, I am so tired and burnt out. I can't even put my leftovers in the microwave. So I took a shower and ordered in.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
And
that's when
and
you have to set that boundary.
it is. And that, a big part of what I'm all about is owning that stuff, is taking responsibility for it, because it's really easy to blame, the pushy person who was just desperate for your help,
Right.
or just being resentful towards your business is not a good sign. It means
Mm-hmm.
that you, who's in charge, aren't listening to yourself. You're not doing what you want to
Right.
do. You're doing things you
Right.
don't want to do. So look no further than the mirror sometimes for the answers as to how you're feeling,
Yep.
if you're not enjoying what you're doing, and just honor that and make a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. And so the change that I made was I am not taking patients after a certain time of the day.
Good for you.
I'm not going to do it. That's
Yeah.
just, sorry, this is as late as I can go.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. And I also, like, over COVID, I was, just kind of working when I could because I was seeing people virtually. So I was working on the weekends, and then that extended to after COVID. And then finally I said to the weekend people, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what they said?
But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Right. I did that too. So I used to see people starting at 9, and then my last appointment would be at 5, but which meant I didn't get done until 6.
Mm-hmm.
And like there just came a time when I was like, I want to be done at 5 like everyone else. Screw this. I'm not doing that anymore. And you know what? They found they were willing to take earlier spots. Like if they
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
really see me, they would figure it out. And they did.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think and I say this a lot to the people I work with, like, your patients, your clientele, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They want to see you. An hour
Yeah.
earlier is not going to trip them up. Finding another day is fine. Like, they'll be okay. You'll
That's
be
right.
fine. They'll be okay. And
Yeah.
you have just said, this is where I draw the line. Um, so, okay. So noticing your boundaries, expressing them, which I think is a great, what I just said is like, okay, this is what I noticed. My boundary is I'm cutting off my times. Oh, and you know what else I did? I also put it on my message. So when people call and get my message, it's very clear. I am open from this time to this time. And if you call after hours, I will get back to you the next day, because that was also something that was stressing me out. Was, oh my God, I have to call. So I'm calling people like 8 o'clock at night. And then you're like, nobody wants you to call them at 8 o'clock at night.
Well, and nobody expects you to either.
Right,
So,
right.
but I think as, providers, healthcare providers, wellness providers, we want to take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're also in this culture used to instant gratification. And so we're always
Right.
available. But, we don't need to be doing that. You are allowed to turn off in the evenings too, just like they do. They don't work.
Mm-hmm.
They're not working at 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Why should you be?
Right. Totally. Totally. So
Yeah.
that's so great. And then, like you said, lastly, holding them. So what advice do you have for people to really hold those boundaries if they're being pushed and pushed and pushed?
Yeah, I mean, just so gently just remind and say, If you said, for example, no, I don't see people after 6 o'clock, and then they say, oh, I'd really like to come at 6, or are you sure? I just can't come in any other time. You just remind them, no, I'm sorry. I just don't work after 6.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't do it. That's my policy. That's, how I do things. This is the way I do things. I'm sorry if that's disappointing. Don't apologize for your decision or your boundary. You can apologize if it's making them unhappy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry if that makes you disappointed, or I'm sorry if that means that we can't work together. I really enjoy you, but I'm just not able to do that. It's just
Right.
not what I do. And don't feel obligated to explain, well, because then I get really tired and then I don't have a personal life. And you don't owe anyone an explanation.
Right.
It just is. It just
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a no.
It's just a no.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. And I think, with men, for the ladies who are listening, because that's who my program is
Mm-hmm.
for, or for clients, bless and release them. Bless and release them. They will find somebody else. They
Yep.
will.
Yep.
They will.
Yep. I agree. I agree. I've used that term before too. It's like just bless and release, like
Yeah.
thank you, but
There's
no.
plenty more.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
totally, totally. Okay, so um another thing that I think people have trouble with boundaries, and you alluded to it earlier about like having the sliding scale, and that comes with money, right? So a lot of healthcare entrepreneurs, a lot of female entrepreneurs are the audience here. So money is always a tough subject. And I know that it has some to do with how you were brought up and your attitudes around money and things like that. But when you're a entrepreneur, especially in healthcare, sometimes we feel, and you're nodding your head already, that, well, people need to be taken care of. So it doesn't really matter how much we charge. Or, well, if they can't afford it, then I'll just, which is fine. But I think you have to realize that if you're providing a service, you should be compensated for that service, right? So
Yeah.
how can you help people around accepting money for the service they're providing?
Yeah. I think it's a really important, it starts with your own sense of self-worth. And like you said, like how you were raised around money. When I first started back in 2003, I was like happy to make $90 an hour. Like, woo, that was a big deal.
Totally.
And I was new also. So I was happy with that. But as I started to gain a lot of experience and started to really realize I'm really, really good at this. I'm actually really good at this. And I am changing lives. I am saving lives. I actually want to charge what I'm worth. And so it started with just raising my prices and no longer taking insurance. And then I started playing with how can I actually charge for the outcome that I'm delivering rather than trading my time for money.
Okay, so can
And
you
that
explain
changed
that?
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
explain
that
that for
changed
people.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, as a psychotherapist, it's, come in, see me for 45 minutes, give me a check or, Venmo me or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
go home. And then you come pay me for the next time I see you. And what I'm delivering in that time is so much more valuable than any dollar amount they could pay me for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left my practice behind, it was a huge paradigm shift, not to trade my time for money. Time is a limited, finite resource for all of us. You
Mm-hmm.
can't pay me enough for my time. You cannot. What I'm charging now for is the outcome that I'm telling you I can help you achieve, the result that I'm helping you get. And to me, that is priceless. If all of you who are listening, whatever it is that you deliver to your clients, your patients, the outcome, being pain-free, being able to walk again, you know, whatever it is, that is priceless. So for me, Ready for Love is right now. It's been a lot of different prices over the years because we change the program and evolve things. But right now it's $10,000 for 12 weeks. It's been more than that. It's been less than that, but that's where
Mm-hmm.
we're at right now. And it's not because they're getting 12 weeks and 12 coaching sessions and 3 of this and 3 of that. And it's not what they're getting. It's who they're becoming. And that is something that people like on the other side of it, when they're finished with my program, they say, I would have paid 3 times or 4 times
Mm-hmm.
what I paid if I knew who I was going to be on the other side.
Right.
So not every business is this model doesn't fit for every business. And you might be thinking, well, how can you guarantee that they're going to get the result? What if they don't do the work? Well, if they don't do the work, it's on them. You can
Mm-hmm.
we talked about this before pre-show, right? If you have a patient and they don't go home and do the exercises you tell them to do, they're not going to get the result. That is
Mm-hmm.
on them. I require my clients to be coachable. I want them to show up. I want them to do the work. If they're not going to do the work, I don't actually take them as a client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you charge what you're worth. It's a
And
big shift in
it's a
the way we're
huge
thinking about
shift.
it.
Yeah. And how would that work for, let's say, someone who's a physical therapist? So someone's coming to you, they have low back pain, right? And let's say you don't take insurance, so let's just take insurance off the table, right? This person's willing to pay you out of pocket for their care. How how do you approach the patient? Because that's a big paradigm shift for the patient as for the therapist, because we're always like, one session costs X amount of money. If you want 10
Yeah.
sessions, it costs this much money. You know what I mean? So how does that work
Yeah.
from a practical standpoint in like a clinical setting?
Yeah. And I have to be honest, like I'm not a physical therapist and I
Right.
don't know what I don't know that world. But the conversation would sound like, I do things a little differently. I know it's a lot different than what you've probably experienced in the past, but rather than just pay me for 5 sessions when we don't know how many sessions it's actually going to take, I would
Right.
rather contract with you that I'm going to help you fix this problem and we're going to do it in about 2 months. If it takes 10 sessions, it takes 10. If it takes 5, it takes 5, whatever, but I'm going to get you there and we're going to do it and it's going to cost you $2,000
Mm-hmm.
or $5,000 or whatever
Whatever
it
it is.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to guarantee yourself, not them, that what you're doing works.
Mm-hmm.
And you come up with a plan that's going to solve their problem. Ready for Love solves one main problem for one kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't work for other people. Like I
Right.
don't take women into that program who think they just haven't found the right guy yet. I'm not a matchmaker. They would be very unhappy in my program.
Right.
So it's the women who know that they need to work on loving themselves and valuing themselves and trusting themselves and standing up for themselves and being better in relationships. So if they go through my program and they go through the protocol, I know at the end they will get that result. So that's how you would have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's go back to, even if you're not willing to change that model and that paradigm, to raise your price for what you are doing
Right.
starts with really, really knowing the value that you are providing and that you are bringing.
Yeah. So it's really
And
comes down to you feeling confident in yourself.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing your worth,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your worth. And if you're somebody who has been doing this a while, and if you're somebody who has a great track record of success with your patients and you're almost full, raise your prices. Every time I raise my prices, I get better people coming to me. I do. They have more skin in the game. They are
Mm-hmm.
more willing to do the work. They don't just pay the money and then disappear. They do what I tell them to do. They're better clients.
Right. Right. No, and I've heard that again and again from so many people in various professions, that when they raised their prices, they actually started getting the ideal client that they envisioned.
Yeah. You just have to not be afraid of losing some people because you
Mm-hmm.
might.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to pay that. Okay, well, then I'm not your girl anymore. Sorry.
Right. Right.
I mean, I once had a Ready for Love alumni who was a businesswoman want to work with me on sales. I actually coach on sales conversations. And she said, I would really like your help. And she was charging 3K or yes, 3K for her product, her program. And she had been trying to raise it to five forever. And so when she wanted to work with me, she said, I told her, okay, well, it's $10,000 for a 2 hour session. We're going to go through your call. We're going to listen, hit pause, I'll coach you. Listen, hit pause, I'll coach you. And by the time we're done, I promise you're going to enroll the next five people in a row. You will.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, I don't, gosh, I only spend $1,000 an hour. That's what I pay. And I was like, okay, well, if you keep only being willing to spend $1,000 an hour, if that's all you're ever willing to spend, that's all you're ever going to get. You're
Mm-hmm.
only going to, you're going to keep getting the same results from the people you hire to help you if that's all you're willing to spend. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
go first. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my own growth and development and becoming who I am now. And if I wasn't willing to do that for myself, it would not be, I wouldn't get people who were willing to do that with me.
Mm-hmm.
So she did it. And she did. She raised her prices and enrolled the next three in a row. It's worth it.
Right.
You are worth it to charge that. And you're actually worth it to spend that and pay for that for yourself. Get your own coaching around your own mindset around raising your prices because, oh my God, I'd rather see five people for more money than fewer people for less.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it goes back into that. It all circles around to setting your boundaries and what you're charging and how you feel about what you're charging. And then you've got those boundaries, but you're getting the people who fit perfectly into those boundaries because you know your pricing and you know how to sell it and yeah, it's just a big positive cycle.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think, every time that I go first, I take the risk, I invest big, I make a major move. It's scary, but that means that it's the right thing. And so
Hmm.
I grow myself and I'm expanding my capacity for moreness. and and when I do that, what follows is the success behind me. It's true. Like the people
Hmm.
want to work with me, the people want to sign up with me, they want to, I get the things that I want.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and now some people may call that manifesting, but I don't know if it's manifesting or like you're putting in the work.
It's both.
It's
It
both.
is. It's because, I mean, I'm a big believer in all of the manifesting stuff, and you really do need to be who you need to be to get what it is that you want. And if you, so let's just say, let's bring it back to your listeners, you want to make more money as a provider. But if you are in scarcity mode and you're afraid to raise your prices and you're not setting boundaries and you're taking the people that don't have a lot of money or you're accepting Medicaid, you're not going to make more money. So it starts with you doing your work on your own fears and doubts and limiting beliefs and scarcity mindset to break out of that. And when
Hmm.
you do, you are operating at your own next level. And that's when you start getting next level in clientele. It works that way. Our
Hmm.
relationships are a mirror for us too. We don't get always what we want. We get who we are.
Powerful. As you're like, so much is going through my mind right now of like, like reels and reels are going through, but
Did I
we
take you
won't.
an unexpected detour? Sorry.
No, 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 no. It's just bringing up a lot and making me think about a lot of what I've done in the past and, what I hope to do moving forward. So
Yeah.
all of this stuff is going to be on repeat in my brain for the next couple of months.
Yeah, good. Well, I mean, hey, that's what podcasts are for. You can re-listen and re-listen. You
That's
had
true.
said, and I don't know if you want to go there, but you had talked about being a people pleaser and it's hard to
Yeah.
set boundaries, and a lot of healthcare providers are. And I think I came out of grad school, indoctrinated into this belief that I'm a helper. So therefore, I can't make a lot of money. That there's a
Yeah,
contradiction between helping and being wealthy or helping and making money. There's something wrong with taking money in order to help somebody. And lawyers don't think twice about it,
true.
do they? No,
Not
they
that
do
I've ever
not.
seen.
No. And the work that we are doing, we are freeing people from pain, whether that's physical or emotional or mental. Um, it's like I said earlier, priceless. And so I just I woke up one day and I was like, fuck that. I am not just a private practice clinician. I'm actually a business owner. I stepped into my business owner identity and I just changed it that day. I stepped into it and owned it and decided it's not a contradiction.
Hmm.
Actually, helping people might be noble in some way, but being poor is not noble. It's not. And the more
Yeah,
I make, the more I can help other people too.
I was just going to say that if you don't make money, you can't keep your doors open. You can't help anybody.
No, and I've been able to do all kinds of things that I wouldn't have been able to do without the wealth that I've acquired because of switching my mindset. I get to
Hmm.
donate and give money and do things that are charitable, and I have more access to growing my business and making it bigger so I can help more people. There's no nobility in our suffering or in our poverty. There's just not.
Hmm.
It's a mindset shift.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people in healthcare, maybe I'm speaking for myself or other people in my profession, is we don't get a lot of business training in school. You probably also did not get a lot of business training in school because there's
Zero.
so much other stuff you need to learn. So I get
Yeah.
it. And a couple of years ago, I did the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And what I said when I graduated, and this was like a 4 month, basically like accelerated MBA boot camp, right? So when I graduated, um, I said exactly what you just alluded to. I said, coming into this program, I was just happened to be a physical therapist who owned a business. And leaving the program, I was a business owner that happened to be a physical therapist.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's way different. It's a totally different way of looking at things.
Yeah, and you deserve to make the money. You deserve to receive. People who struggle with self-worth have trouble receiving,
Hmm.
whether that's love or money or anything. And we deserve to receive compensation. It's an energy exchange for what we provide.
Hmm. Perfect. And on
Yeah.
that note, as we start to wrap things up, what do you want people to take away from this? What are your biggest takeaways?
Oh my gosh. I just think stepping fully into your identity as a business owner, like you were just saying, like first you are a business owner and your specialty is XYZ. You help people with these things, but you are a business owner.
Hmm.
And there's no contradiction there. And when you fully know your worth and your value, you do set the limits. You do not take crap from demanding patients. You let people go who are not a fit for you. You say no to people that you don't want to work with. You fire people if they're not doing their job.
Hmm.
Doesn't take eight
Yes.
months to let somebody go. It's like, okay, when you make the decision, it's your word has to mean something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who are you? It's so, yeah, all of the things that we talked about today really fit together, don't
Yeah.
they?
100%. And now,
Yeah.
where can people find you if they want to learn more about your programs, and want to ask you a question? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So right now, my focus is on the hilarysilver.com website because that's what I'm doing currently. It's my podcast. I have all kinds of goodies on my podcast that your
Yeah.
listeners will really enjoy. I really, truly believe that. And so everything on Hilary Silver, you can subscribe to my list and I give you a free training, a video training on how to really start kind of taking ownership over how you might be throwing yourself under the bus a little bit. And on that website, I do have some courses. One is called
There's
Rich.
not just some, there's tons. I'm going to
Yeah,
stop you. There's tons, and they're all really good depending on kind of what you need.
Yeah, so there is one called Rich, and it is on money mindset. There's one on boundaries, which is as what we talked about today, and then there's another one that your listeners really might like too, and it's called $1 Million Messaging, and it's really it's an extensive, program. When I did it, it was live and it was 5 days, and I walk you through how to really speak to your ideal client and let go of the ones that are not. And it's really about how I turn a virtual stranger into a $10,000, a five-figure client within 48 hours of knowing me. And so those three are the programs that I would recommend on the Hilary Silver website. Now, if you're single and you're struggling in your love life, that's a whole other story. The Ready for Love program would be a good fit too, because it's all about self-worth. So take your pick.
Yeah.
Do one,
And
do them all. They're fun.
yeah. And I will also say, affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But again, that's hilarysilver.com. We'll have all of the resources we mentioned today. So whatever platform you're listening on right now, go to the show notes and click on the links, and it will take you to everything, including your social media and things like that.
Great.
So
Thank you.
where are you most active on social media?
Well, I'm kind of moving away from Instagram, and I'm really focusing on my YouTube channel right now on social.
Perfect. Uh-huh.
I really enjoy the longer conversations like we had today, and then I just
Hmm.
let my team chop up the little bits and stick them on
On the
Instagram. So I'm not
shorts,
really
yeah.
active there myself. So it is my podcast and it is YouTube. So if you prefer
Perfect.
listening, then podcast. If you prefer watching, YouTube.
Perfect. So again, all the links are in the show notes, regardless of where you're listening right now. Okay, so the last question is question I ask everyone who comes on the podcast, knowing where you are now in your life and career, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self needed a lot of help. Honestly, she was lost and didn't know who she was. But she did make some really good choices that helped her find herself. And so I think I would just say, listen to yourself, tune out the noise, trust yourself. That's what I would say. Do what's best for you always.
Great advice, and certainly something I wish I heard at when I was when I was 20 as well. I feel like I was like a hot mess.
I think we all are by
I,
that's like definition of 20.
I think so. I think so too. Well, Hilary, thank you so much for coming on. And again, everyone, go to hilarysilver.com. I appreciate you coming on. What a great conversation.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.
And everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great couple of days and stay healthy, wealthy, and smart.